Welcome to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be looking at a full workout for the E-shape bar chord. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to find the inversions inside, like that, as well as arpeggiate through the shape. We're going to play the major pentatonic scale, as well as the full major scale. And we're also going to look at the chords that are in here and arpeggiate through them like this. So if you've been struggling to put the fretboard together and you're having trouble with learning the CAGED system, stick around. By the end of this video, I think you'll have a better understanding. Okay, so first let's talk about this bar chord shape here. Now the E-shaped bar chord is probably the first bar chord that you learned, most likely because you were trying to get the F chord when you're playing songs in the key of C, right? So let's talk about the origin of this shape here. Now, it really is based off the E major open chord. That's why we call it the E-shaped bar chord. So it's basically as if you play the E major chord with these three fingers, your ring, your pinky, and your middle finger, leaving out the first. Now the first finger can actually, you can think about it as placing it over the nut there. And that's how the first finger acts as a movable capo in a way. That first finger is there as a movable nut or as a capo essentially. So let's talk about some of the things we can build around this shape. Let's start with the triad inversions first, the 3-chord shapes. Now if you can play this full bar chord, you absolutely can play the smaller ones. And there's very little movement to do so. So let's talk about how this works. Well, the triad is built of 3 notes. We have the root, the third, and the fifth. So starting on the first 3 strings here, and this is a very common thing that rhythm guitar players do. I mean, all guitar players should be able to play these full shapes with smaller shapes as well. There's a lot more variety and creative options for you as a player. So let's start here. First finger, I'm going to play the 3rd fret on both the 1st and 2nd string. Now it's going to be barred, so you can bar that over the first 3 strings, over the first 2, whatever's more comfortable. And the middle finger is going to go to the 3rd here, a 3rd of the chord, the 4th fret on the G string, to be clear. So it looks like that. We have 4th fret on the G string, 3rd fret B, 3rd fret high E, just like that. Okay, so that's your first inversion chord there. We have the 3rd as the lowest note. 3rd, 5th, and root on top. Now to get to the next shape is very simple. You can remove the bar of the first finger to be a little more comfortable, but we're going to leave it on that 3rd fret of the B string there. Middle finger stays in the same spot. All we're going to do is put our ring finger 5th fret on the D string, and that's our root. So now this triad is stacked in root position. We have the root, the G, the B note there, and the D, which is the 5th, G, B, D. Finally, let's go to the next inversion shape here. Again, very simple. Ring finger's not going to move. We can use that as an anchor finger between the chords. So what's going to happen is we lift up the 1st and 2nd. Middle finger is going to come to the 5th fret on the A string. Okay, so that's our 5th. The root, and then the first finger goes to the 4th fret of the G. So that's a great inversion shape. This time we have the 5th on the bottom. Second inversion like this, when we have the 5th in the bass. So why don't we play through the chords in time? What we can do is start with the bar chord for half, count of 2. So 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. With me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 2, 4. 2, 3, 4. Back. Great, so that alone will help you a lot, just being able to take those smaller shapes out of the larger bar chord shape. I think it should help you get a better understanding of how that works, especially when we combine the scales with this. So now why don't we take a look at the major pentatonic scale. Now many of you probably know this because if you learn the minor pentatonic first, like A minor, let's say here, a lot of you probably know that second position, which starts like on the 8th fret for C, that's the one we're going to be using here on the 3rd fret for G. We're going to do all of our examples in G, staying around that same E-shaped position. So let's go into the major pentatonic scale. Middle finger on the root, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 2nd, 5th, 2nd, 5th, 2nd, 4th, 3rd, 5th, 3rd fret on the high E, just like that. Okay, so let's ascend and then we'll descend as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2, 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 3. 5th fret, 2nd fret, 5th fret, 2nd fret, pinky, middle finger, like that. So this is a good time to talk about hand positioning as well. When we're playing in this position, this would be called second position. Our first finger dictates that. That's how I think about it. So in this position, each finger is assigned a fret, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the finger numbers you can use for this if you think about it that way. Now I'm going to assign each finger a number, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I'm not going to call out frets. We're going to do it by number now. I want to show you kind of how I learned this at the beginning, how I taught it to myself. I did it this way. 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 3. Now doing that shifts us out of position, so I want to show you the other way to do it with the middle and pinky. Now I don't find that to be the most common way to actually use the scale. When you're improvising, you're definitely not doing this. Could you? Of course, but I highly doubt you're going to be using these two fingers for that. Is it possible? Of course it is. It's just not the most practical and efficient way to play it, I think. So that involves a switch with the fingers. And that takes a little bit of time to get that position shift down. That's probably what's going to disturb the connection between your fingers and your brain when you get there, is that shift. So make sure you keep your hand in a position where your wrist isn't hyperextending or anything, and you have the ability to stretch to do that, right? You don't want your thumb high because look what it does. It collapses my hand there. It gives me improper position. Thumb slides down a little on the back, and you have enough space. So now that we did the major pentatonic scale, I think we should look at the full major scale where we're adding the extra 2 notes. So let's take a look at that. I'll run you through that as well slowly. Very similar. Fingers are going to stay in the same position. So let's take a look. Ready? 3rd fret, 5th, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 2nd fret, 4th, 5th, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 3rd, 5th, 2nd, and 3rd fret. Now let's talk about the actual notes and the intervals of the scale. I think that'll be really helpful, and it'll make more sense when we go into the arpeggios building off of this. So starting here, we have the root, the 2nd, the root, and the 3rd, root, 4th, root, 5th, root, 6th, root, 7th, the major 7th, nice and dissonant, going up to the octave. So that's actually 1 full octave there, like this. Ready? You can hold the notes out. That's a great exercise in and of itself just to better understand the positioning. But now let's run through the major scale together. So I'll count it out. We're going to play through it ascending and descending. So we'll go nice and slow here. We can do half notes if you want for the slow tempo. That would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So I'll count it off and we'll get right into it. 1, 2, 3, 4. E, F sharp, G. That's the root. Back. 2. Okay, so that is the G major scale. So we've looked at the triad inversions, we went through the major pentatonic scale, and now we've looked at the major scale. So let's look at the full arpeggio that's based off of the E shape. This arpeggio basically outlines the bar chords, so it's really cool to see how that works. And it's not too complicated. I think I'm even going to show you how to take it up like that. So let's take a look at this together. We'll take a closer look. So all we're doing is playing the root, the third, and the fifth in this one. That's it. So we're starting here, the root, the third, the fifth, and now the fifth again on the D string. That's one octave. Okay, so let's take it through both octaves, through the entire shape. Again. From here, we're going to play the fourth fret on the G, and then the third fret on the B and the E, right? Now that sounds very fragmented when we play it like that, so you can connect the notes. Like that, you can roll into them. But the roll, you kind of want to stop the note previously because you don't really want two notes happening at once. So that takes a little bit of practice and control with the fretting hand to mute. Right, like that. But it is a very useful technique to know, and it will help both hands. I mean, this is a great warm-up, and I would include this in your practice as just like a general workout when drilling these bar chord shapes, especially the ones that you think you know pretty well that you use for chords and playing songs or playing with other people or in jam sessions, but this is really helpful to know what works around them and all the notes you have available to you. I do want to mention that when I go up the arpeggio, you can go up here to the 7th fret. And when you think about what that is, it's just the major third. That's G, A, B, right? Finally, the last thing we're going to talk about here is what I did in the intro, playing through the arpeggio. Like that, where I use the diatonic chords and I'm playing through all the chords in the key. So let's start here. I'll take this very slowly. We have G major first. Just like that. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 5th. Now we're going to go to the A minor here. And you'll notice all I'm actually doing is taking a note, skipping over the next one in the scale. So I'm moving in thirds essentially, instead of moving in whole steps just like this. I'm skipping. So G, now A minor. Good. 2nd fret, 5th fret, 4th fret here. That's B minor. We're building off the 3rd scale degree. So G major, A minor, like that, B minor. Now we're going to do C major. Looks very similar to G, just 3rd fret of the A string. 2nd fret, 5th, like that. So let's keep going back and we'll recap. G, A minor, next B minor, now C, D major is next, with our pinky there, 5th fret on the A string, 4th fret, 2nd, great. Now E minor, okay, which is very similar to B minor, same shape. You'll notice how these work with the fingers here. 2nd fret D string, 5th fret, 4th fret G. Okay, so again, let's recap. We'll go through this up to the E minor, the 6th. G, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, now E minor. Fantastic. Okay, this is the cool one. F sharp diminished here. I love that sound. Right? So cool. Okay? And then G finally here, just our triad. You can play it just like that. Right? I'm just going through the chords. It sounds so pretty when you start using it in your improvisation, just knowing that you have these things available. It's really helpful to understand this stuff. You can move around the fretboard so much easier. These are the things that aren't the most sexy and exciting to learn, but a lot of times when you're trying to master something, that's the stuff that you need to be doing, right? You just kind of lock yourself away and you work on these things, and it's sometimes very frustrating, but those light bulb moments come. I mean, I think we live for those light bulb moments as musicians in general, or just artists, right? Like you're looking for that thing. You're always chasing that connection to make. You're like, oh my God, how did I not see that? So I hope today, and in general with these videos, that I'm able to help you do that and sort of get the light bulbs on for many of you that are feeling stuck. So I hope this video was helpful. In the next one, we're going to take a look at the A shape up here. So that'll be really interesting to sort of see how things connect or how the patterns change. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you'll never miss another lesson. It'll really help me get more exposure on the channel. Also, make sure to check out my Patreon page if you want access to the interactive notation synced with my playing, as well as a downloadable PDF for all of my lessons. As always, thank you so much for watching. It was great to have you, and I'll see you in the next one.